Good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in to Bite-Sized Book Reviews. So this book is called Synchronized Sorcery by Juliet Blackwell. The main character, Lily Ivory, is just on her way back from her honeymoon. Like, she and her new husband, Sailor, have been vacationing in Europe along with her pig familiar, and they're only just coming back to their home in San Francisco. Lily also happens to be a witch, and she's going to be stepping in as the head of the Bay Area's magical community, because the person who's normally in charge was recently in a really bad accident and was really badly injured, so he's out of commission while he recovers, and in his absence, Lily's the person that people should be going to for problems related to the magical community, as well as it sounds like relations between the magical community and the rest of San Francisco at large. So this is the kind of world where magic isn't necessarily like widely recognized or believed, but neither is it deliberately hidden. Like, there's like a licensing process for fortune tellers, and people it's not like people hide the fact that they practice magic or something, but whether or not people believe that what these individuals can do is magic, or whether or not people think it actually works, is kind of up for debate. So not really the flashy kind of magic. So there are, I guess, two major plot lines to the story. So first, there's the murder mystery, because when Lily arrives at the office of the person she's filling in for, she finds a dead body at his desk. And since this is a magical office, it's not really the kind of place that random people can wander into, but neither does the person who died in there seem to be a witch, I guess, or she doesn't really know if he is or isn't. Like, it's not someone she knows. It's also not clear right away whether he accidentally overdosed on drugs, was there because he wanted to commit suicide there for whatever reason, or was there because someone murdered him there. So Lily starts to try to figure out what happened. Like, she feels responsible since the guy did die in what is now her office, at least for the time being, and she wants to know what happened. At the same time, she runs into a strange man who might be her half-brother, and this is not great news because their shared parent, her father, was enslaved to a demon, and not necessarily good news. So I guess the other plot line would be that she discovers a vintage mermaid costume among her things, which she doesn't know where it came from, and when she handles it, it gives her kind of a weird feeling. And she when she looks into the possible history of this costume, it brings her to a place called Treasure Island, which is a man-made island that's part of San Francisco. It was created for the World Fair back right at the beginning of World War II. And it turns out, I guess, that this costume and the death of the person in the office may actually have some relations to each other. So something I liked would probably be just that there was a lot going on. Lily definitely has a really colorful kind of life. Her aunts are visiting, although they might be leaving sometime soon. It sounded like they came to help her with some previous problems that she had with magic related things, because they're all really powerful witches. She's trying to mend her relationship with her mother, who I guess was really scared of her talents when she was little, but they're slowly trying to reconnect, I guess, after being estranged by the sound of it for quite some time. There's also the fact that she is a newlywed and living in her apartment with her new husband and her familiar. The two of them don't get along, so there's that kind of relationship that they have to manage. It also seems like it might be a good idea to have a bigger home, but things can be pretty expensive in San Francisco. And then, there's this prophecy that might involve her that she's still trying to look into, where she feels like she might have to do some drastic things, I guess, to make sure things in San Francisco don't go sour, I guess, for whatever reason. It's a little bit vague about that. But like I said, there's a lot of things going on in her life. Like she also runs a vintage clothing store, so there's dealing with the store stuff in general. Like I kind of like the slight chaos, I guess, and like it's the kind of life where it is kind of just interesting to see how she's handling things. But I think something I did not like as much would probably just be that I think in some ways I expected more out of the mystery. Like, it's like it sounds really dramatic when I'm describing it, but it didn't turn out as dramatic as I might have kind of liked it to be or something. Like I don't know if this, I guess this isn't quite spoiler territory, but it's just like, for instance, who the culprit ends up being. Like it feels to me like it was a little random. Like the story didn't really spend much time actually laying in clues and pointing you in certain directions, and it didn't really explain things to my satisfaction. Like I feel like it left a lot of threads hanging. Like there's this idea of like Treasure Island, part of the problem was that there's people who want to develop it and turn, to try to bring more economic growth, I guess, to the island so that people there can live better lives. But then there's also people who don't want it to change, and there's issues with environmental problems in that area, like nuclear waste. But that particular conflict, like it never gets resolved. Like I want to know what happened. Like it doesn't really explain a whole lot of why people don't want it to change. I mean, I guess you have a pretty good idea why people don't want to build buildings there with those environmental issues, but that part doesn't really resolve, and it doesn't really tie in as well with the conclusion of the murder mystery and stuff as I would have liked it to. It's like it laid a lot of possibilities and didn't really bring, like there was like I said, there was so much going on that it didn't really develop, I guess, as much of each of those lines as I might have liked. Of course, I guess it might have been a much longer book had it tried to do so. But yeah, like I think I just kind of wanted a bit more continuity, I guess, in the way things were tied together in the end.